Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Championship Leadership Podcast. And we got Class 3 CL24 grad, Ian Hahn out of New Jersey. What's up, man? Thanks for coming.
Hey, what's happening? Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And so, yeah, I wanted to talk about your experience from CL24, some of the things that you learned and you've taken away. I know you've committed to coming back, CL24 Class 4. Came into Class 3 feeling good, and then maybe a week before tripped on a toy and like fluke accident, hurt your back, didn't know if you're gonna be able to go through, sucked it up. So yeah, maybe talk a little bit about like what, you know, coming into it, the way you did, how you were feeling, and what, you know, where your head was at when you showed up.
Yeah, you know, it was kind of, I was pumped coming into it. I felt like I was rocking and rolling and started doing like the best runs I had since I was, you know, a runner back in the day in college. And, you know, just ready to go. I was confident. I had passed the PT test when I ran through it at my gym. And, you know, I had that little unfortunate slip the week, literally, I think it was a week before.
It was, right? Yeah.
My daughter took off her shoes on the stairs, and I was going down. I hit the shoe, and it went all the way down. And,
is that what it was? It was a shoe? I thought it was like a toy or something.
It was a shoe. Okay. She took off her shoe, and and then
good
she
place
told me
for
that, then she told me that I should have been watching out that it was there.
Well, details, attention to detail, bro.
And it's just you know what? It was weird because like I was supposed to go run 7 miles with me and my mom were going to meet at this place called Manasquan Reservoir. I was supposed to go to 7-mile run that morning.
Okay.
And I called her up. I'm like, I can't go. You know, maybe it would be, but tomorrow. I think we'll be good tomorrow. I think I just tweaked it, and then I just like the next day I was like, wow, this is a lot worse than I thought. And took the week off. I kind of like pushed it a little on Thursday. And I was like, man, it still hurts. And then we just said, you know what, we're going to go and try to tough it out and see what happens. You know, we had committed, and, you know, it's just, there was 2 reasons. One, like we needed to go just because like we made a commitment, you know, and like me and my wife believe in like honoring commitments. And 2, like, I thought like, you know, if I go down there, if I go over to Vegas and like, I can't do it and I fail, it's like one thing, at least I'll know. Yeah. So if I stay in Jersey, I want to play the what if game in my head. And, you know, I did it. It bothered me at first in the beginning a lot, and it bothered me tremendously on the logs. And then afterwards, I'm telling you, it like was like magic. It started to go away. Like it started, it got like better, oddly enough, throughout, you know, it was kind of crazy, you know, so, and, you know, I got through it. So.
Yeah, you did. Awesome. You got through it. You did great. You did amazing. You didn't get to buckle, of course, but that was really, I mean, that was because of the injury. Obviously, you definitely would have.
Yeah, I missed by two sit-ups. Two sit-ups.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But that's all right because we upped the buckle game this time around, so the buckles are like out of this world compared to what they were in the beginning. So you're gonna get the legit buckle here this next time. But yeah, there's a lot to be said about that and showing up. You know, I think a lot of people, you know, because this is meant to be a leadership experience through the physical, and how can you take what you've learned to really take that next level in all areas of life back home. You know, there's a lot of people that have things like that happen in their life, and they're just like they almost jump at the opportunity. They're almost happy they have the injury, right? Because now they have a good excuse not to.
I'll tell you what, being honest, like mental midget popped in my head, and I'll tell you exactly where.
Yeah?
We were in that grass field, and we were doing the bear crawls, and we were doing the logs, and we were crawling around, and I had just tightened up because that was like we just had our like first like real break to eat and warm up a little, and I just was like, oh my god, like the thought came real quick in the back of my head. It was like, hey man, your back hurts. No one's gonna call you out on it.
Hey, you really do have a back injury.
Yeah.
Oh, like, did it?
You know, the mental midget pop, and it didn't last long. You know, like, you know, I think through an event like that, the mental midget pops up in all of our heads here and there, saying hi.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah,
you just gotta, you know, like you're gonna doubt yourself throughout, like, you know.
Well, so that's right around the time that Ray Hewitt left in fabulous fashion, like the first person we've ever had quit, and he
It
quit in
was.
style. I don't know. I'm waiting for the video. Hopefully today. I think I'm wondering if Jake put it in there, but so to have those thoughts and then to see someone else leave, sometimes that can be really bad because then you're like,
Yeah.
well, if you're already having those thoughts, you're like, I'm out of here too.
Yep. Oh yeah, it was there. Like, and
Was
that
it?
was just where you like you and Coach Tree were kind of give us the advice, like you got to be in this moment. Stop worrying about the future. Stop worrying about like this, down the road. Worry about now. And that's where like the teammate part of it comes through, because like
Yeah.
your teammates will pull you through it. There was not one person on our team that just nailed it. We didn't have
Right.
one guy or girl that just like was a stud. Everyone
Yeah.
struggled.
Agree.
I struggled in the field, and you had people struggle on the runs, and even in the PT test, someone like Paul, who was just killing the field, started struggling on the ruck and the run there. Like
Yep.
we all struggled. So like
Yep.
even the guy with the buckle struggled. So
Yep.
um, that's when you really rely on your teammates coming by, and that's where that leadership part comes in, where like you got a guy like Richie who was just a true leader throughout, getting into your
Yeah.
head and talking to you, and Paul and Tony, just everyone. Really, everyone truly stepped up as a leader at some point of another. That's why, to me, the whole class was so special, and I
Yeah.
wanted to come back, because
Yeah.
like you just saw these special things happening for people, and
Yeah.
somebody stepping up at like various times. It really was like a really special and awesome circumstance. It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool, and it was cool to watch, like
Yeah.
seeing people like become leaders and really stepping up throughout the process.
Yeah. Absolutely. You got like little Z. She was like, what the heck did I get myself into? She had some
I thought
strong
we were
moments.
losing her for a while, and
Yeah. But she made it through, man.
she got herself, and she got like a second win, and just like
Yeah.
became a warrior.
Yeah.
Um,
It was a cool group. It's always, each group's a little bit different, of course, and
mhm,
but it's always fun to see that transformation happen and
it was.
the teams go together. What was maybe one of your most powerful moments in the 24 hours?
Yeah, I kind of brought it up during it, because like mine happened early, and we had talked about it at there. Like, one of the things I do in the corporate business world is just like I lead my team in Manhattan, and I have the blinders on, and I have all this important, critical information that comes through me. And sometimes I just expect my full timers to be doing their job. Like that's your role. You do it. You take care of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not always there, kind of in an HR role in a way, or a support role, just like helping them and seeing them get through things. And that was kind of that role when I didn't know Michelle was hurt, and I was like flying through burpees, and they're like, "Hey man, you're racing
Yeah.
through this, and your teammates are struggling. You're not keeping on pace, and you're." And I was like, "Who's hurt?" I had no idea, and I wasn't even
Yeah.
paying attention, because I was
Right.
so focused on me, my injury, and my burpees, and I was just so in tune to what I was doing. I didn't um, notice that Michelle was struggling, because that's when her injury started to kind of come out right there.
Yep.
Um, and I do that at work sometimes, where I'm so focused on, I don't notice that my employee's struggling with something. And, at the end of the day, their role is critical to the success of, the ultimate goal for my organization in Manhattan. I don't always see that, and that's
Yeah.
something I need to work on. I want to be Superman all the time and take on the big tasks, but it's not always about that.
Yeah.
So that played a little bit of a role, and of course, attention to detail. Just that hits home, and I think
Yeah.
anybody would really, that would hit home with anyone. And
Right.
it just made me more aware of paying attention to detail and
Yep. Big time.
understanding. Yeah, so it was
What
good.
I'm always thinking like what are some of the objections or some of the hesitations that people have coming into something like this, or maybe some of the ones that you had that you're like, man, I don't know, like, because I think
Yeah,
once you get there, you realize and you go through it, you're like, yeah, that wasn't really, you created something way bigger than it really was.
yeah.
Um,
I just think people aren't confident, like, themselves, as far as their what they can do with their physical limits, and I I went into that, a little bit, and I think we all did. Like, what are we getting ourselves into? Because it's kind of this unknown for a couple of us, especially
yeah,
me the first time around. Because I remember even turning to Babcock and Perez on our way to after doing the logs in Arizona, going, dude, you guys signed up for this a second time? I was like, you guys are not. And Babcock was
Which is
talking
funny
about
because now you're coming back a second
now
time.
I'm doing it. That's the funny part. And Babcock was talking about doing like 5 or 6 in a row. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. Because, we're 6 hours in and it was hard. The logs
Yeah.
to me were the hardest thing we did. So
Was it?
for me, we did our hardest evolutions first.
Yeah.
And again, I'm thinking, man, I have to keep. So you doubt yourself. I think it's natural to doubt yourselves. And even anyone that I've brought it up to and said, hey, man, I think this event would be good for you. Like, oh, man, I would die. I would not make it through it. And
Yeah.
it's not a physical beatdown. I mean, it's hard. You're gonna be tested. No doubt. Yeah. But it's more of like really just coming together as a group and
Yeah.
just believe in yourself, and you'll get through it. And it's just a matter of it's a lot about team, and it's a lot about you out there. And you go out there and you're trying to compete against if I'm going out there and I'm trying to compete against Richie in sit-ups and comparing myself to Richie in push-ups.
Right.
I'm not gonna, or Richie comparing to me to the mile. Like, you got to be in your own world throughout things, and then bring in that team environment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. I just think people are scared about the physical limitations. It's that whole Navy SEAL, like, this is going to be a physical beatdown, and but it's really not. It's much more than that. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I learned that, and it became evident like towards the end, like reflecting and looking back, and it's just it really was a priceless experience, just bonding with everyone and going through that. So
well, what's got you're right. And a lot of people, man, I mean, they shortchange themselves from an experience standpoint too because of that. They're just like, oh, I can never do that, or that's way too hard. It's like, yeah, well, I mean, it's not easy, that's for sure, but it's not supposed to be. Like, and the other piece is like, you totally can do it. Anyone can do this event if they really. We have some folks that don't show up in the best physical condition, but they get through it. We're not there to make anyone quit. We're not there to beat anyone down. That's not the point. There are events like that out there if that's what you want, but that's not this one. So it's So if you have that thought, I guess I would just say, you can do it, and it'll feel so good when you actually do it and you come through and you're like, oh, I actually did this, right?
It really is. And like, I don't know if you guys do it on purpose, but like that last hike on the mountain, going up the mountain to watch the sunset. And like, at that point, like, now that's a hard hike, just because of, you're 22 hours into a physical event.
Yeah.
It's a steep mountain, but like at that point, like, you're making the event.
You're
less than 2 hours in. You're not going to like, even up when we were on top of the mountain, like, we knew we were going to go down and do some more log stuff, and you guys were going to kick our butt for a little bit. But at that point, like, you got it. And it was almost like just like a celebration walking up, going up that mountain together as a team and kind of just appreciating each other. And I mean, you're not a human being if you don't think that's like the most beautiful thing in the world, watching
right?
Las Vegas Strip,
Beautiful. Like, yeah, absolutely. So, it's definitely, why we do it. So, well, we got to wrap this up here, but you are coming back. What's got you coming back? Because this is we've had a lot of people in only a lot relative to the 3 classes we've had, and people are coming back, which I don't know if I necessarily saw it, but I love it. I love that they are. What was a big determining factor for you? I know you're recruiting others to come back with you. Actually, Tony Hopkins, who's like, I'm not coming back, was just messaging me the other day, by the way. You might want to give her a little poke. She's like, how soon do you have to know, or how much time do I have before I have to sign up? Like, what's the deadline? I'm like, well, the day before. I don't know. Like, I'm like, who's asking? She's like, well, if I keep working out and feel like I'm making good progress, I might come back. I'm like, okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, okay. She was like one of the hardest. She was awesome through that. She was just such like a hard worker. Like just I mean, she took control on the log. She's like, everyone, I need proper steps out of you. She showed like her military background, and I mean, all of our women that went through the 3 girls that went through that, they were just like warriors, man. They were like some of the toughest women I've ever met.
Absolutely.
Like, it was just so like refreshing being having a daughter, seeing like women that strong and like determined and just like like that's awesome. So it was really cool to see. So hopefully she comes. That'd be cool. But Yeah, I wanted to do it obviously to get like the buckle and do that,
Yeah.
but it's just like, I don't know. I think that's like a good test every once in a while, just to go
Oh
through
yeah.
it and kind of like
Yeah.
have something to work for, and just to kind of, you know, just keep that physical part of like what, you and your group call like the big four
Yeah.
in check. You know,
Hmm.
I think that's what I wanted to just do, just have something to keep cruising for. I mean,
Looking for.
I
Yeah.
didn't want to do like, I want to do something different. Like for me, I didn't want to do like the 5Ks or the 10Ks, and I'm not diminishing what that is for
Yeah.
someone. I did that for 15 years of my,
Right.
running
Right.
career.
Yeah.
I ran at high levels doing that. So
Yeah.
like, that's just something I've done, and I appreciated that, and it was awesome, and it's
Yep.
great. But it's just like something new and different. And this was
Yeah.
kind of like, I'm kind of in this whole thing now where I enjoy the team aspect, but I also get to be an individual and test myself. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's kind of why
I
I
love
wanted
it.
to come back.
That's great. It's going to be
Yeah,
awesome. It'll be a different experience for you for sure. So
yeah,
every time is a different experience. So, what would you say? Last question. What would you say to somebody if like they have been on the fence? You know, we've had people kind of since the first one. All right, seeing what is this thing Nate's doing? Is it like is he gonna do one that's gonna flop? Is it and then you start
yeah,
to see that all right, this thing is actually legit and
yeah.
people are having amazing experiences and we're on class 4 now and keep moving. Like what would you say to somebody that's been kind of sitting in the sidelines
You
trying
gotta
to figure it out?
come out and do it. It will change. I mean, it will really be one of the biggest accomplishments you do. I mean,
Yeah,
it truly will. It will be. I mean, I've done some pretty cool athletics things in my life, like with running for Penn State and having some All American, All East accolades under my belt, and this is probably one of the top things I've ever done. You know,
that's
I
awesome.
can I can honestly say that. And just the brotherhood, and so you're going to come out with it. Like I mean, like here's an example. Our whole class is pretty much we're all getting together and doing a Spartan in San Diego together.
Yeah, is that awesome? Yeah,
That just shows you the bond that was created in this
right.
24-hour
Yeah,
experience, and like, you
yeah,
can't put a price tag on that.
I
So
know it.
like, I mean, I hope somebody's watching this, kind of like how Paul Casey watched Babcock's
Yeah,
podcast.
exactly.
He's just kind of saying, you know what, I want that, and he's
Yeah,
going to come and join me.
yeah,
So
yeah.
look forward to it.
Yeah,
You know,
I love it. Absolutely. Couldn't have said that better. So I appreciate you, man, and great work and way to show up. And you're already showing up as a leader as we head into recruiting some folks for the class 4.
yeah.
But have a great day, man. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks. Appreciate it.